All right, and welcome back to Love the Team. Matt, and today we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Indians preseason outlook, grades. Yeah, you're right.
But
We all have a
first,
good one.
come on then.
But
I'm gonna teach you to be a YouTuber.
first,
Yeah, come on then.
but first what?
Like, comment, subscribe, check out our
That's at
Discord,
the
check out our
end.
social. No,
That's
no,
at
I
the
always
end.
do. You
Yeah,
do beginning and end. You do beginning and end.
no,
I do it at the beginning and the end of all my videos.
that's good for you.
All right then, do it your way.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
So today we're talking about the 2020 Cleveland Indians, and yikes. So, my general opinion on the Indians is just pretty dismal. Not that they're going to be like, Orioles bad, because they're not. They're definitely a significantly better team than the Orioles. But the Indians have been the most consistently overrated team in the league for a long time. 2017, 2016, 2018. I don't know why I did that out of order. These guys are like, oh, wow, the Indians are so good. They won 100 games in 2018. It's like they won these many games against teams that sucked. 2018, the Twins sucked. 2017, obviously, the Twins had that miracle run into the wild card. But like the White Sox, Tigers, Royals have been shit for years. They've been playing against basically like farm team quality teams for years, and and obviously, I can't be too harsh on their management because a team that wins 100 games, like, can you really, look, everything looks good, but then they go up against teams that are actually good, like, you know New York, Houston. They get fucking blown out. Now, isn't to say it's all bad for them, but this team, and the thing is, Indians started it in 2019. 2019, they got off to an awful start. They started looking at blowing it up a little bit. They and this off season has been all moves towards blowing it up this coming season because this whole lineup is just kind of ass. Like, I just don't know what they're doing, like what they think they're doing. They've fixed none of the problems last year. The big problems last year, besides bullpen, was their awful outfield defense and the pitching was just kind of all over the place because you had some really strong performances, and then you had some really whatever ones, and you traded away Trevor Bauer. It's just and they don't really have anyone to replace him still. So anyway, before I go too off topic right away, we'll get to the lineup. The lineup is I don't really know. It's interesting. They have some really, like, obviously two big superstars in Jose Ramirez and Francisco Lindor in the top three. Oscar Mercado came onto the scene last year and had like a pretty big rookie season at the start of it, and then kind of went cold. But still solid first season in the MLB. But Lindor picked it up, but started off really slow. Ramirez was actually just a straight detriment to the team for the majority for the entire first half of last season. Man barely hit over 200, couldn't hit any home runs, and then he turned it on in the second half. But he's also just it was just such a horrible season from last year. Now I will say, when I watched in the Yankee Stadium last year, my only game at the stadium, we were against the Indians, and I said, "Wow!" And before the game, my dad and I were talking, and we were just talking about how we've I've never seen a grand slam before. Well, we had Chad Green opening, and sure enough, Jose Ramirez comes out, bases loaded, no outs, grand slam. So I got to see a grand slam. So thanks, Jose. Wrong team, but whatever. Um, so Preseason Lindor is obviously that's a great guy to have at your top of your lineup. He's not like super good about walking, but he's got good, like, about average for walking for the league today. He's got a decent average, good power, actually very good power, and very good speed, and can get your team started quick when he's at the top of your lineup. So not a bad player to have up there. A very one of the best hitters in the league still, and that's going to be the biggest stick in your lineup, really, because he's like an overall all around threat. He's not trying to go yard every time, but he can. And so really interesting to watch him. Oscar Mercado, he had a good showing last season, but it just feels weird to have him at your number two. I don't think he'll end up being your number two because he's good, but he's not good enough for a number two spot. Definitely not. And the, I think even Cesar Hernandez or Franmil Reyes would make a better number two, and I think they just move Carlos Santana up. Carlos Santana had a really good season last year. He was the All Star first baseman. Uh, Not the best average hitter, but hits for really good power. Has a high OPS, walks a bunch. He's an excellent hitter and like an excellent batter, like batter's eye. So he can be a pretty big part of this team this coming season. And Jose Ramirez, you can't expect a guy like that to have a season like that every year because he's just so good. Um. Anyway, and then you got Franmil Reyes, stereotypical MLB hitter, hits for lots of power, can't walk, but he just hits a shitload
Okay,
of home
so
runs. All right. So anyway, Franmil Reyes is an interesting play for me because I mean I like Franmil Reyes. I think Franmil Reyes, like for like the prototypical power hitter, a guy who can hit 37 home runs as a pod, or at least hit a lot of home runs as a Padre in that ballpark, like that. That's a pretty good sign of his power talent. But he's going to be your DH. Carlos Santana is not going to get a lot of days at DH because he can't defend. And that's a consistent theme for the outfield, which we'll go back to in a minute. Cesar Hernandez, he's been a solid second baseman in the league for a few years now, and not the prettiest bat, but a pretty solid one, and not one you can really complain about. I'm not sure he's really. I can't really say too much about what he's going to do because he kind of does very similar decent numbers every year, around the 280s. Sometimes I had a couple of seasons of the 290s, so you're not a bad bat to have at the back of your lineup. Um, so not the worst end of your lineup there. Moving on to Domingo Santana. This guy, like all or nothing hitter, except not as good as Framil Reyes, because Framil Reyes will catches more balls than this guy. Like Framil Reyes will hit a fair number more home runs and balls than Domingo Santana can, because Domingo Santana, they both strike out 3 times more than they walk. But overall, Framil Reyes is the better Domingo Santana. Unlike Framil Reyes, he can't defend for the life of him, which we'll get into in a minute. Roberto Perez, good defensive catcher, solid guy to have behind the plate. He's really excellent defensively. Hitting leaves a lot to be desired. Like he can hit a fair number of home runs for a guy who's going to hit barely over 200. And he was splitting time with Sandy Leone. The only difference is Sandy Leone can barely hit 200, so he's definitely a better bat than Sandy Leone. I wouldn't say he's as good of a defender as Sandy Leone, but overall, just like a still pretty solid catcher. In a league that doesn't have any good catchers, like he's still pretty solid. Delino DeShields is the guy you got from the Rangers for in the Kluber trade. Uh, really good speed and but he's had a couple of rough seasons. Last season he actually spent a fair bit of time in the minors, and he just he hasn't shown consistency, and so it'll be interesting to see how he comes out of the gate. And but the only difference is that his good speed and his good fielding make him a necessary player to have a decent amount of time. Because I'm sorry, you can't rely on this outfield you have. This outfield, it's trash. I don't know what they were thinking. The whole last season, their biggest problem was their outfield defense. Oscar Mercado was pretty good on offense, but he had a bunch of errors for an outfielder. Franmil Reyes had a bunch of errors for an outfielder. They brought him over in a trade, but everyone's kind of scratching their head like, wait a second, Franmil Reyes might be an outfielder, but he can't really field. Why do you want him? And Domingo Santana can't field either. And obviously, when you look at outfielders, there's not a whole lot of errors, but they don't cover as much ground as other outfielders. They lose more balls than other outfielders. A few errors on an outfielder is a lot because it's pretty tough to catch an outfield error, and it's just I don't know what they're doing with this outfield. And on your bench you have Greg Allen and Jake Bowers and Jordan Luplow, none of which are really outstanding defensively. Not that they're bad; they're definitely better defensively, but their bats are generally worse. The exception of maybe Domingo Santana. They might have a better bat than Domingo Santana, depending on how the season goes. But overall, your biggest problem last season, your outfield defense and just general production from it, and it's going to suck again this season. Oscar Mercado can produce, Framil Reyes can produce lots of homers, but you expect to have one of the worst outfield defenses in the league. Now, Oscar Mercado's young, and it was his first season last year. He's only 24 last year. He's 25 this year. Like, there's obviously a lot of time for improvement, but the fact is, this line, like, it's gonna suck. Um, Moving on to your lineup, Shane Beaver last year, after Kluber got injured so early on, he came in and became your ace, and he showed it all season. He had an excellent All-Star season last year. 214 innings, 3.28 ERA, 259 strikeouts. Like he's proving himself to be a threat, and it's gonna be. He's only 25, and so though you lost Kluber, and Kluber is definitely like one of the best pitchers in the league. Like Shane Bieber is becoming one of them, and you have a lot of years of control. So there's something there. So maybe if you guys don't have to full rebuild, you have someone to lead that staff. But then the rest of your staff's a complete mess, as is going to be a theme with the. You have Aaron Savali, who had a pretty decent season last year, but he's mostly out of the bullpen. He actually made a spot start in the game that I went to. He looked pretty good. He doesn't have like high velocity, but he has really good, making guys ground out all over the place type skills. And I mean, it was Adam Plutko. I'm not no, it was definitely Aaron Savali. No, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like getting confused now. I'm going off my script here. My minimal script as is. Zach Plesac, he had a pretty solid rookie season especially in a league where lots of rookie pitchers get hammered. 3.81 ERA in 115 innings. He did pretty solid, and so it'll be interesting to see how much he's grown. Obviously the sophomore slump can happen, but it's not. I don't want to say too much about him. And Adam Plutko didn't really have that great of a season last year, and Uh, and then your biggest mess is with your fifth starter because Carlos Carrasco and Mike Clevenger are both injured. I think they'll be back in time whenever the season starts. By the way, season starting, 82 games it's looking like. Was the last guess was the last thing. Now the ownership and players union are trying to negotiate on payment because obviously they don't want to pay the players their prorated salaries for 82 games. But the players union wants to get them at least get them a fair amount of money, obviously, because it's their job. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but I'm just not confident in this rotation. Beaver is a great pitcher. He will be solid. Carrasco and Clevenger will both be really solid if they're healthy, but they've both consistently struggled with injuries, and you haven't gotten any more. Like like Carrasco is elbow inflammation, and he Clevenger's coming off a knee surgery, and they're not going to have enough time to really get back into the swing of things because the season's getting cut in half. So not really sure what to expect out of this rotation. So it'll have to wait and see, obviously, because it just no clue. You have no clue you're getting a mixed bag. I will say I think Zach Plesac's getting undercut for what he did last season, but beyond that, it's just not much light at the end of the tunnel for it. Then you get to your bullpen. Now, I think the reason why Aaron Savali is projected to be a starter is because of Carrasco and Clevenger. If he's not, I think he'll be a solid bullpen arm. Beyond that, your bullpen also isn't much of a strength. You have Oliver Perez, who though he's 39 now, he's been a pretty good reliever for you guys, and he'll throw a lot of innings. I'll get you out of like, you need a guy to get you a ground ball double play or just get you a couple of outs real fast. He'll come in and do that. You have Danny Salazar, who's been injured a lot and missed all of 2019. Played one game in 29. Missed all of 2018. Played one game in 2019, and then got injured again. So uh, it's going to be interesting. Actually, hold on a second, because I think you guys dropped Danny Salazar. Yeah, he's a free agent. Actually, I'm an idiot. Sorry. I think he might just be in the minors. I'm not sure when this was. It was in November.
According
But he's
to
still showing
this,
here.
he's listed as in the minors. He's listed. Danny Salazar is listed as
Yeah,
minors.
that's what that's what I'm looking at, and so I'm gonna go with these in your minor league system. Let me just do it quick, because obviously if he had signed somewhere else, he wouldn't be. Okay, it's saying he's a free agent, so okay, all right, fine. So you don't even have Danny Salazar in your in your minor league system to come up. Um, Brad Hand will be your closer and will be a solid guy to look at, but honestly, with the way this team's looking and with the how management's been playing over the last season, he's going to be a trade piece. Don't expect to see him the full season. If he is, they're just missing a chance to trade him. Nick Wickren, you've gotten the trade when you got Ramirez. He's been pretty good. Like he had a really good season last year and the year before that. So maybe something can come of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm thinking of a different guy. I'm messing up because never mind. He can't. He played for you last season. Fuck. Nick Wickren, he had quietly really two really good seasons, and so I don't see why he can't put those numbers up again. I don't, but obviously the bullpen can be such a volatile place. I really like Adam Simber because I love people who throw submarine and sidearm, and he's a fun one to watch. Got a nice funky delivery, but is he really going to be the guy that locks down every game? No, as much as I wish he would be, he's not going to be. But another just pretty mid-level arm coming out of your bullpen, and that's what your bullpen is. It's a bunch of mid-level arms, with Brad Hand being the one exception. And Brad Hand didn't have the greatest season last year. Definitely struggled a lot down the stretch, but he's been really good, and so you definitely going to be your big trade chip out of the bullpen. And then just to roll back to the lineup real fast, Francisco Lindor, another guy who's probably going to end up traded because he was a big trade rumor last season, and unless they extend him again, let's wait and see. Like it's just the future does not look bright for the Cleveland Indians, to put it lightly. Guys to focus on, if you want to go to the pictures. Francisco Lindor, obviously he's been your big superstar along with Jose Ramirez, for a number of years now. But it might be time that the Indians decide to part ways. I don't think they should. I think Lindor looks is a great player in Cleveland, and I think every team deserves a guy who's going to be there for a lot of years. I think Lindor should be there, but if the Indians look at it and say, we want to keep Ramirez, I think Lindor's got the better chance of being the more consistent of the two. But I can't blame them entirely because their minors are kind of suck. They're out of their real playoff opportunity here, which can tell you what I think about them. I think he'll probably end up traded. I don't see him finishing out the season, but he, enjoy him while you got him. Definitely want to watch out for, because if he performs really well, you can also get big returns on him when you trade him. If you trade him, if you don't trade him, I don't think it's a mistake to not trade him. But you got to re-sign him. It'd be really, you got to look at this guy and see what he does this year to see. It's going to be really interesting to see if he's on the team still. If they give him that extension, because I think he deserves it. Next guy. Jose Ramirez, got to look out for his bat this season. He cannot do what he did last season again. Jose Ramirez has lit up the league for a bunch of seasons, for a few seasons now, and like interestingly enough, horrible in the postseason. I was reading one article, and Jose Ramirez has got like 4 postseason hits or something. A guy who did so much for you over the past 3 seasons. Like he could tear up the regular season, but something doesn't click in the postseason. And he looked like his postseason self in that regular season. So you got to see him pick it up. He's got a great arm, great defender, great runner, and can be a great hitter. So you really don't want to see this guy regress because he's a cornerstone third baseman, guy you want to see play. And if he gets off to a hot start, he can. If him and Lindor don't have the terrible starts they did last season, that team can be better and might be able to carry the pitching and all the other guys in their lineup. So they have that potential. So look out for him because you want to see him have a significantly better season than what he did last year. If I go on to the next one, Shane Beaver, you're undisputed ace. If you're an Indians fan and you're not watching every start from this guy, you're wrong. Now, if you only got a chance to watch like a game a week or something, pick his game because he's almost always going to throw out a good game, and he's got excellent stuff. His fastball and slider are two excellent pitches they just make hitters flail, and so definitely be a man to watch out for. And then Brad Hand, he struggled down the stretch last season, but he's been a really good closer for a lot of years and for a couple of years now, and so keep an eye on him to see how he performs and to see what the Indians decide to do. I think of all these guys, I don't think Lindor is his obvious trade chip. I think he's the most obvious trade chip on this team, and definitely expect him to move around. But overall, Indians fan, it's not going to be pretty. If you want to move on to lineup, this is where I'm struggling the most with this team because they have really great star power from Lindor and Ramirez. But then, and Carlos Santana, and the rest of it's like, okay, well, they got some decent power in Reyes, but where's the rest of this like stacked lineup? So I think I'm gonna give him a B for the lineup. It's good. It has great superstars, but then the other 6 guys are either too young to tell or have never been, like shown to be fully rounded hitters. Rotation. The problem is the. Okay, yeah, sorry, doing it out of order. Bullpen definitely got to give it a C plus. It's like
There we go.
Not
I'll
great.
deal with this shit again. All right, hold up.
All right. Well, it's not good. It's not bad. It's just it's gets a C plus because you have Brad Hand. It's not like you have no one in this bullpen. It's not like you have an Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. But you also don't have anyone else to really help him out, and so he'll end up in a lot more innings than he's supposed to. Than you want your closer to be in, and so there'll be days where you can't use him, and you'll be scratching your heads like, what do we do now? So, and if you trade him, the bullpen just goes down to a C minus because you got a bunch of solid guys, but nothing superstar level, or nothing even all-star level. Rotation. This is another one I'm kind of like this whole team I just struggle with because I don't want to underrate them because obviously they have a lot of talent, but they've also been consistently overrated. Oh, look at these guys. They have amazing numbers, but they've been pitching against guys who can't hit, who are getting called up really early because they teams are tanking. So like, Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger are great pitchers, but their health is always in question because they get injured a lot. Now, I'm pretty sure Carrasco and Clevenger will be starting this season. So, they've both been throwing bullpens as of the 416 update, which is the last update we got from MLB. So, I think overall, I'm going to give the rotation a B because, once again, Shane Bieber, excellent. But the health of the rest of the bullpen is just the rest of the rotation is just questionable, and it's not like it's small injuries, knee surgery, and elbow inflammation. Bullpens don't prepare you for the big leagues. Throwing bullpens
helps you get your arm strength up. But when you're going into a game, there's a high chance it just doesn't work because like there's not much because you don't have not enough time to really adjust. So you get blown up for your first 5 starts, but then start to put things together. Well, sorry, that's really that's a huge weight on the team. And so I don't want to totally write off their starters as bad, but I think it's definitely a good rotation. It's definitely better than the worst rotations, and so it's definitely better than a C. And so I'm going to stick with a solid B for it because it's just too many question marks for me. And you've also traded away your multi-Cy Young winner Corey Kluber. So yeah, and overall in the count, I think the team's going to do second place to the Twins. Sorry, Twins made a lot of moves. The Indians are trying to sell off, and rebuild their farm system and making a bunch of middle of the road moves. And so I see them second place. And honestly, the White Sox might even threaten them because it depends if, Ramirez gets a bad start and Santana, well, I'm not going to say Santana's going to have a bad start. I think Santana will be fine. But, Lindor and Ramirez start. Oh, yeah. So if Jose Ramirez and Francisco Lindor start slow, this team is not going to win any games. Like, it's going to be very hard for them to win games. So I see them second or third place in the AL Central. I really don't see them. I mean, thinking about the rest of the AL, I'm trying to think of like what teams I see as wild card contenders. Because there you got Rays. Honestly, I'd say they're in the wild card. They're definitely in the wild card run, but I don't see them as like a threat to win the Central. I think the Twins would have to really suck this season to not win the Central. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the Indians.
All right. I don't have anything to add. Not a. I do think you were coming
That'll
down
work.
a little hard on their. It hurt my heart to hear you coming down hard on their outfield, man. Outfielder over here, center fielder for the last 5 or 6 years I've
Listen, they
played.
have it's like I understand like most outfields have one guy who's really good at defense but can't hit much, which is fine. Like they have the one on the Shields for that. But Franmil Reyes can't field. I'm sorry. He can probably play first base because first baseman I think they definitely get underscored on defense, but usually you throw a guy like a DH at first base, but you can't do that because you got Carlos Santana, and so they'll be switching off between first base and DH. But like the rest of their offense, their outfield, I'm sorry. Oscar Mercado's biggest problem last season was his defense. It just sucked. And their bench players, they're definitely better defenders, but their bats are so much worse that they can't really run them out there. Domingo Santana, like I'm sorry, he's not a starting quality outfielder. He
Just
started for the
saying.
Mariners because the Mariners had no one else to put out there.
Just saying, center fielder. It hurt my heart to hear you say how the bad their field. It's it's really not a complicated position to play. I'm not gonna lie. It's really not. But let's go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, so if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you're an Indians fan who disagrees, come blow me up in the comments. I'll blow you up right. I'm kidding. But if you have like a different opinion, or you think genuinely that this team is, if I underscored them on something, or if you think I'm just being too harsh on their outfield defense, leave a comment, leave a like. If you're a Twins fan, you're like, damn right, say damn right. I mean, give us some feedback. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out our social media. Get our Discord. Yeah, I realize they don't have social media links on our banner.
They're not on our banner. I
We
guess
can
I.
fix this later. But
Yeah.
anyway, so that's about it from us. So have a good one. And see you on Wednesday when... Who do I do Wednesday? Let's see. Excel.
Oh, there we go. I don't
Okay,
actually
what am I
know.
doing?
Cause I know we go to. I think we're in the same city again, in it. Let's
Try,
see.
I'm trying to... I don't know where my Excel spreadsheet... I don't think it's saved.
All right, well, mine
Okay,
is
we
opening
got
up.
the video.
All right, so this upcoming week, so he's just finished the Cleveland Indians. Tomorrow I go to the Dallas Cowboys. Wednesday is he goes to the Texas Rangers.
That'll be fun to
Thursday
talk
I
about.
go out to Denver to do the Broncos, and he follows me up on Friday with the Colorado Rockies.
All right, so one good and one really, 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 really bad.
Yikes. And
Yeah, pretty
somewhere in
surprised
this
they go with the
next
Rockies.
couple weeks, I do want to go back and remake that Arizona Cardinals video more in depth.
That's right.
But
One of these weeks you will.
it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Check out our social media and our Discord. And I will see you tomorrow. He'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.